What's going on YouTube? Welcome to iStuff Gaming, and today we're going to be doing a character guide on the Hunter Heimdallr. Now before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and check out my Discord and my Twitch. I'll be leaving the links in those in the description below. Now, Heimdallr is an amazing character. Borderline broken. I still see him getting banned in Conquest Ranked, and I can still see why. Even with the meta change, this character hits hard. He's very safe if you know how to play around with his third ability, and he basically could pub stomp from the early to mid, and even in the late game if you build him right. And since I see a lot of people playing this character but not exactly knowing where to go with his builds, I want to go ahead and do a guide on him. Now, let's go over his passive and abilities. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over Heimdallr's passive. Vigilant. The Vigilant, my fault. When Heimdallr gains vision of an enemy god, he gains physical power up to a maximum of 5 gods. When an enemy god would disappear from vision, including stealth, Heimdallr continues to see them for 4 seconds. Also, Heimdallr's critical strikes only deal 70% bonus damage. Now, he gains 2% per stack of physical power. 2% extra physical power. That's a lot if he sees all 5 people. Hell, it's already a lot when you're in the carry support lane, because he gains an extra, 4% extra power? That's a lot of power just from being able to see somebody. Plus, his character gets the max benefit off of his wards, and his passive goes really well hand in hand with his first ability. Let's go ahead and go over that. Now, his first ability is known as Piercing Sight. Heimdallr throws his sword, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, into the air. It shines with brilliant light that reveals enemies within 80 units. Heimdallr can refire this ability to call the sword down, causing it to fly to the target location and damage enemies. This move will deal 310 damage at max rank and is on a on a 14-second cooldown. I'll go ahead and show you what it is. So, as you see this big radius, this little white line, that's the radius of where he can see. It used to be a lot bigger, but I don't know how long ago it was, but I believe it was a month ago they nerfed the vision on his first ability. I'm going to go ahead and cast it. You can see the first ability. Now I can see everybody. Your ability can be marked when he has vision. That's usually how that's how the move works. Really straightforward. Up next we have the Gjallarhorn. It's all these words I can't pronounce. Anyway, Heimdallr blows the Gjallarhorn for 2 seconds, causing enemies in front of him to lose movement and attack speed, while taking damage every 0.5 seconds. While blowing his horn, Heimdallr is immune to knockups. While when Heimdallr ends this cast, either through canceling it himself or after 2 seconds, he raises Gjallarhorn for a final blast. This blast damages enemies and knocks them away from Heimdallr. It sounds like a lot, but it's very simple. So that little cone in front is the tick damage that you'll get from the Gjallarhorn, and then the circle around you is the blast radius, which will knock enemies away. So let me go ahead and show you. Really straightforward. And as you can see, you can also cancel this ability early, so you get the knockback early. So it's a really good get off me tool, and it's a really good engage and damaging option. And then finally, we have the Bifrost. Heimdallr manifests a fragment of the Bifrost at his target location. The 2 fragments are placed; they become linked, allowing Heimdallr to traverse the Bifrost. The greater the distance between the fragments, the longer it takes to begin traversing, and the longer it takes for it to be usable again. If Heimdallr places a 3rd fragment down, the oldest fragment vanishes. Enemies that walk between the 2 fragments are also revealed to Heimdallr. So, that's a lot of information, I know. So, let me go ahead and show you. So that's usually his teleport. Everybody knows how this teleport works. The closer they are, the faster your teleport, and the shorter the cooldown will be on the ability. As you can see from the crystal to the left, you can see that it was on, a 12-second cooldown. And so, once that is complete, you'll be able to traverse them again. Right? So, if you place it farther, it'll take a little bit longer, and the cooldown will actually increase. So, I would not recommend trying to use this to get back to lane. This is your get out of jail tool. So, use this move sparingly. I'll go over it more in detail in a moment. And then his Heimdallr's ultimate ability is Through the Realms. Everybody knows what this ability is. Heimdallr charges it forward, axe ready. If Heimdallr hits an enemy god, he stuns them before unleashing a devastating swing of his axe, launching his target into the sky. A Bifrost portal appears, and Heimdallr sends the launch flow through the realms of Muspelheim and Niflheim before returning them back to the battleground at random location in front of him. It's really surprising that I know how to say that, but I play God of War, don't judge me. Muspelheim burns the enemy every 0.5 seconds for 1.5 seconds, while Niflheim slows the enemy for 2.5 seconds. So, I'm going to go ahead and show you what that... Well, you're not going to be able to see what that looks like, but if you've been hit by it, you know exactly what it looks like. So, to disappear, they'll pop up at a target location. Now, the cool thing about this ability is that you can actually target and drag enemies to where you want them to land back. Let me go ahead and show you. Okay, so the trick I was telling you with Heimdallr's ult, Jesus Christ, I can't talk, is that if you turn your camera really fast while casting the ult, you can actually make them go in the opposite direction. Now, they won't go as far as if you were doing it in the original direction. However, it will help you set up for more damage and put the enemy in a more precarious spot. So let me go ahead and show you. So if you ult and turn the camera, they'll end up behind you rather than in front of you. Really neat trick. It's something you should always learn how to do, especially in certain situations. Now, as far as Heimdallr's best items go, starting item is up in the air. If you're looking for more survivability and more long-lasting lane presence and overall better survivability for the mid to late game, I will go Devourer's Gauntlet. If you're looking for just more burst and not really looking for the survivability and going for those boxing matches, I would always recommend building Transcendence. Now, I believe Transcendence is better than Devilish just because of the pure power, but Devourer's Gauntlet is definitely really strong because it's cheaper and it gives that survivability. Up next, I wholeheartedly believe this character is a crit demon. Even though his passive keeps him from doing full crit damage, his basic attacks hit hard enough with his passive that it doesn't matter. Plus, Deathbringer kind of bypasses his passive, so building Rage and Deathbringer together is always really good. Also, as a hunter, you're also going to be wanting to build an Executioner or a Quinsize to help you deal with the tank depending on the situation. Most of the time, you're going to be building Executioner rather than Quinsize, but just be prepared to build either one of these. I also like building the Crusher for the extra tick damage on his abilities and on his second ability. Plus, the extra attack being in pen is always welcome. I would also recommend building a Blood Force, since this gives a tremendous amount of power with the lifesteal, plus the health shield when you get a kill. And since this character hits so freaking hard, it's almost impossible not to get a kill with this character. Also, I would not recommend building a Fail Not. This character really doesn't get any benefit off of it, just because if he ults you, you're basically going to die, unless you're a tank. And even then, his ult will already hit pretty decently hard. Heartseeker, I would recommend if you're looking for just that little bit of extra damage from his abilities, because it will do a lot with his ult and his second ability and his first ability. However, I believe this character is more basic attack focused than he is ability focused, but he can do the ability build really well. So for Heimdallr's game plan, it's actually not as cut and dry as you think. Where I see a lot of people doing is immediately throwing their first ability up and then throwing it at the first person they see, and then using their second ability for the get off me too, which is not always the case. So while you are fighting, it's a good idea. However, if you're looking for more of the laning phase, all you would do is throw this ability up and leave it up, right? And just keep attacking the wave and using your 2 and all that good jazz. And then when it's about to go out, then you throw it down, right? And if you're looking to clear the wave, if you're trying to out clear the enemy, since his basic attacks do cleave, the first 2 hits do cleave, so you don't really need the first ability to clear. But if you're looking to get that little bit of extra clear, I would recommend using your second ability over your first ability, because your first ability can get you out of jail a lot, especially if you're in Conquest and they're looking to gank you a lot more, especially in a spot where you're not warded as heavy. So basically, when you're getting to a fight though, what you want to do is basic, throw down your ability, and then immediately pop your 2. And then when you're knocked up, get your extra basic, right? Save. Now, another thing where I see a lot of people mess up is your ult, while it could be a really good kill secure, this is more of a defensive and setup tool than anything. Because keep in mind, this is a banish. This is a 4-second banish. So if you're looking to, if you're in the carry support lane, right? If you're looking to be more aggressive towards the carry, don't waste your ult on the carry carry, use your ult against the tank, because that's 4 seconds that the tank cannot help their carry. 4 seconds. That leaves you and your support fighting this carry, and you can throw everything you have. And you can throw everything you have at the carry and do a massive amount of damage, leaving the support in a really awkward position. So, though I wouldn't always recommend using this ult as a get-in tool. I would sometimes recommend it using it as a setup, getting that support or the tank out of your face so you can set up. Plus, if you use this ult and your Bifrost isn't ready, then you're going to be in some serious trouble. Speaking of Bifrost, let's go ahead and discuss how to use his Bifrost. Now, where I see a lot of people messing up is that they would use their Bifrost to get back to lane faster. And while that can be a pretty decent strategy, it can go on a, 90-second cooldown, 210-second cooldown if you do it at level 1. So that's not very viable for this character. You need to be setting up his Bifrost in ways that will help him get in and out of fights. So what I would recommend doing, setting up a Bifrost somewhere in a safe spot, so when you go into a team fight and you start fighting, you can immediately put your Bifrost down and get out. This short distance is pretty damn good, especially since they can't see this little line here, so they don't know where you're going to teleport to. This is where his safety comes into play. Use your Bifrost in more creative ways other than just using it as a get back to lane tool. You need to be setting it up in places where you can get out for free and still apply some pressure if need be, or get out before the jungler or the enemy team rotates on you. Now, as far as his laning phase goes, obviously you're going to want to get Hunter's Blessing, right? And tier 1 of whatever item you want. Me personally, I like building devils on this character, so I would always go the Spike Gauntlet. Now, for your first ability, if you are in mid, you can decide between your first and second ability. The knockback and the tick damage is really nice, plus you can get a lot of poke damage with your first ability because they're still level 1 with you. However, if you were in the carry support lane, I would recommend always going your first ability. This is safer. It can put some distance between. It can hit those back minions really easy without putting yourself in too much danger, especially since you're fighting 2 people. And if they try to early game gank you, you'll have your little makeshift ward here. Always really nice to have. As you level, you're going to be getting your second ability next, or your first ability, depending which one you got, and then your third ability. I personally, for my leveling path, I like leveling the first ability first. It's a lot of damage on those back minions, and it's a lot of damage on the enemy carry or the enemy mid. Can level up your second ability for more what's the word I'm looking for? For more utility, since the slow does increase as you level the ability from 15 to 25%. So it can help you and your carry, or you and your support, or you and your jungler get those early game ganks. However, this move does do more damage. So if you're looking for more damage, level up your first ability first. If you're looking for more utility, for more ganking potential, or for more diving potential, go for your second ability. For me, this is another one of those characters where I wouldn't level his ultimate right away. I would recommend leveling up these abilities first and then putting points into your ultimate. Especially since your ultimate for me is more of a setup tool rather than a kill tool. So, like I said, that's more for your discretion. However, I personally like leveling up his non-ultimate abilities before his ultimate. And with that, that concludes our Heimdallr guide. Heimdallr is pretty straightforward. However, his kit can be very daunting and can be very not daunting. Also, it could be used in many different ways. This character is extremely safe if played right and does a hefty amount of damage. This character is still, in my opinion, one of the top bans and top gods in the game as far as an ADC goes. So, if you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any other questions or would like to request any guys, don't go ahead and leave a comment below, and I will catch y'all next time.